The Caduceus represents enlightenment. The Caduceus represents immortality. The Caduceus represents the activation of the chakras. The Caduceus represents Kundalini, the Merkaba, the aura. There are just so many things that the Caduceus represents. It is a universal symbol for so many different things. Essentially, you know, within the matrix in the westernized world, the Caduceus is used as a symbol for health. And I don't think a lot of people really understand why the twin serpents are used as a symbol for health, so I wanted to talk about that now. The Caduceus represents health as a symbol due to the fact that the twin serpents climbing up the staff of the Caduceus, the two serpents spiraling around each other, that represents the activation of the chakra system. The primary chakras that are housed within the spinal structure, from the base of the spine to the top of the head. So, you know, to experience real radiant health, all the chakras have to be activated through the arousal of Kundalini. And when that happens, when you get the Christ energy into the pineal gland and it opens the pineal gland, that's when real radiant health is experienced. Because when the energy goes into the pineal gland and opens it, it connects you to the ancestral realm, the angelic realms, etc. And now you're experiencing enlightenment. And enlightenment and health go hand in hand. See, in order for us to get truly healthy, we have to activate the entire chakra system of the human body. Because, you know, you could eat really, really healthy. You can do a lot of healthy things. You could exercise, take your herbs, etc. But you still may be operating at a lower spinal energetic output from the lower chakras. So the Caduceus essentially represents health, because the Caduceus as a symbol represents all of the chakras being activated. And proof of that on the Caduceus is the fact that at the top of the staff there are wings that come out. Once the Kundalini energy gets to the top of the Caduceus becomes feathered and you have wings at the top. And that's when the serpents become feathered, and that's when you experience Christ consciousness, the Merkaba, etc. So there are many things on this symbol that represent different occult things, but for the most part here in the West, most people regard the Caduceus as just kind of a generic symbol for healing and health and etc. So the energy, the Caduceus represents the Kundalini energy, the male and the female energy, activating the spine, getting to the top of the head, opening the pineal gland, and activating the nimbus, the halo, etc. So just a brief video on the Caduceus. Again, it represents immortality, enlightenment, wisdom. There are so many different things that this symbol represents. And it represents all of these things due to the fact that essentially at the main root of what the Caduceus represents, it represents enlightenment. And through enlightenment, we experience health and all the other things that the Caduceus represents, such as immortality, the experience of the angelic realms, etc. So it's really interesting that the mainstream pharmacopoeia, you know, mainstream hospitals, even veterinarian clinics, they utilize the Caduceus. But on many of the many times, you know, these vets and even these doctors, the Caduceus that they use on their or the symbol of the Caduceus that they use on their business cards, on their pamphlets, etc. It's not even a complete Caduceus. There's only one serpent. And when there's only one serpent on a Caduceus, it represents an imbalance. Because that serpent, depending on where it is on the Caduceus, either represents male or female energy. And for enlightenment, you have to have both of those energies. You have to have the male and the female working together to create a unity, a whole. But many of the Caduceuses, they shouldn't even be called Caduceus, a Caduceus, excuse me, due to the fact that there's only one serpent. And how are you going to activate? Kundalini requires two energies, opposing energies. So I would be surprised if the doctors who even work for these companies, the hospitals, etc., even know what the Caduceus represents. So the serpent, essentially, serpent for just a very, very long time here on Earth has been regarded as a symbol for health. And that's due to the wisdom of serpents. That's also due to the fact that serpents can perform Shaktipat. They can activate Kundalini. Serpents are the masters of Kundalini. And Kundalini is the art of purification, enlightenment, regeneration, immortality, etc. So, just a brief video on the Caduceus. I'm going to make a lengthy video in the future really breaking down what it is. Maybe I'll go into some symbolism in movies, because many of these movies here in the Matrix are constantly using the Caduceus. Some of these movies that require decoding, even the Matrix, there is massive Kundalini symbolism in that movie. In fact, that movie is essentially about the activation of the Christ seed, the Kundalini. And I plan on making a very lengthy video explaining that, because that is kind of a difficult thing to explain, and I'd like to make a video about it. Many people don't have a clue just how much information has been hidden and stored in this movie, The Matrix, especially the first one. So, just a brief video on behalf of the Sacred Starseed Serpent YouTube channel. I hope that this message can inspire you to get as healthy as you possibly can, start drinking clean water, and start taking your power back. Peace be with you.